Good evening. My name is Isidro Figueroa. I'm the city's principal planner, and tonight I will be presenting the beachfront residential subzone datum change zone text amendment. The zone text amendment is proposed to amend Chapter 17 to replace the existing NGVD 29 with the proposed NAVD 88 as the base measurement point from which all elevations for height are determined in the residential beachfront subzone. The proposed zone text amendment is required to ensure consistency with the updated FEMA firm regulations and internal city documents. The city participates in the National Flood Insurance Program, which is administered by FEMA as a participating community. The city is mandated to adopt and enforce ordinances to reduce the risk of flooding and meet or exceed federal requirements. In return, FEMA makes flood insurance available to property owners throughout the city. On September 30th, 2016, FEMA released preliminary firm to the cities of Ventura, Oxnard, and Port Hueneme, as well as the Ventura County Watershed Protection District. On May 30th and 31st of 2017, FEMA, along with the aforementioned communities, including Oxnard, held public meetings to inform the affected communities of the release of the revised draft flood maps. FEMA has been moving forward on a national effort to update community firms since the early 2000s. A risk map, FEMA provides communities with updated firms and flood insurance studies that focus on the probability and location of floods, as well as the calculated 1% annual chance flood elevation. Coastal areas such as Oxnard have additional risks associated with them due to wave action. These coastal areas underwent a detailed engineering analysis conducted per FEMA's Pacific Guidelines for New Coastal Studies back in 2005. These methods more accurately assess coastal risks associated with wave setup, wave run-up, and overtopping, and dune and bluff erosion. The slide before you shows the new updated firm maps. The most impact is to the beachfront homes. On August 23rd, 2017, a community workshop was held at the city of Oxnard to discuss the changes in the firms. On February 20th, 2019, Planning Division, along with Public Works Department, jointly held a public meeting at the Oxnard Shores Neighborhood Council to further discuss the impacts of the new firms on the affected property owners. On April 9th, 2019, staff prepared and sent a notice to all affected property owners outlining the base floor elevation implications to applicants seeking improvements to the affected properties. On October 8th, 2020, staff hosted a meeting with the Oxnard Shores Neighborhood Council to inform them of the intention of the upcoming committee meetings addressing adopted FEMA firm regulations. On October 13, 2020, the Public Works Transportation Committee forwarded a recommendation to the City Council to amend Chapter 18, which is the floodplain management chapter of the City Code, to be in conformance with the updated FEMA firm regulations. Ordinance number 2989 was introduced to the City Council at its November 17th, 2020 meeting, and it was adopted at the City Council meeting of December 1st, 2020. On December 8th, 2020, the Housing, Development, and Economic Committee received a summary report on the updated FEMA firm regulations and implications for development along the coast. HDC recommended approval of the datum change. It also directed staff to study architectural regulations for understories resulting from FEMA firm regulations, if any. As of January 29, 2021, FEMA firm is effective. All construction shall comply with the updated FEMA regulations unless issuance of a building permit before that date and significant new construction is started and completed within 180 days, which is 6 months, after the building permit is issued. Unless conditions are met, all construction started after January 29, 2021 must comply with updated FEMA regulations. Significant construction means pouring of slabs or footings, installation of piles, and construction of columns. Significant improvement means alteration of any wall, ceiling, floor, or other structural part of a building, whether or not that alteration affects the external dimensions of the building. Regulatory floodplains are defined by the elevation of the base flood in relation to the elevation of the ground. Base floor elevations are used to determine the required elevation of new buildings in the floodplain. FEMA and the city's coastal zoning ordinance use a vertical datum as a base measurement point from which all elevations, which are height, are determined. The city's coastal zoning ordinance provisions use the NGVD 29. FEMA and the city's floodplain management provisions use NAVD 88. Difference in vertical datums affects the city's coastal zoning ordinance, which uses NGVD 29 datum as a set of points to calculate height for beachfront homes. The city code will be required to be amended in order to include NAVD 88 datum as a set of points to calculate height in the beachfront subzone. Implementation of updated FEMA firm regulations expected to increase base flood elevation between 7 to 8 feet. New development construction must comply with the new base floor elevation. Updated FEMA firm regulations will potentially reduce the floor to ceiling height by about 2 feet per floor for habitable space. The existing height requirement for development in the residential beachfront zone is not proposed to change as part of the zone text amendment. The slide before you shows you what is intended to be changed in the coastal zoning ordinance, and essentially it's just replacing all references to NGVD with NAVD and converting the former NGVD high requirements to the NAVD high requirements. That's the only change. There are no other changes proposed under the zone text amendment. Next steps. Planning Commission's action on this matter is advisory to the City Council. The Planning Commission's recommendation on this matter will be forwarded to the City Council for consideration. The anticipated date of the public hearing for City Council is sometime in May. If adopted, the coastal ordinance will be submitted to the Coastal Commission through a local coastal plan amendment. The zone text amendment is categorically exempt from CEQA pursuant to sections 15061B3 because this activity is covered by the general rule that CEQA applies only to projects which have the potential for causing a significant effect on the environment, and because this zone text amendment is being made to be consistent to the recently adopted FEMA firms and city internal documents, it does not involve any type of expansion of use or development potential. Staff's recommendation is that the Planning Commission find the project exempt from CEQA pursuant to section 15601B3 and adopt resolution recommending City Council approval of planning and zoning permit number 21-580-01, which is a zone text amendment, to amend Chapter 17, Article 2, Section 17.25 D 1 through 3 as submitted, subject to certain findings. This concludes staff's presentation. Staff is available for any questions. Thank you.